I read these four business books recommended for creative professionals and designers. And when I say read, I of course mean I listened to them as in audiobooks. And the surprising thing about those books is that they all have the same few key concepts similar to one another. The one big theme is specialization, and that might not come as a surprise to you, but it goes deeper than just picking your niche. I gotta say, my perspective has shifted after reading these books, and I'm hopeful that today I can share a bit of that wisdom with you guys. Hi guys, my name is Janne. I'm a web designer bringing you some peer support all the way from Finland. And I know that you want to get to the books, so I'll go through them rapid fire style right now. Links are, of course, in the description. Win Without Pitching Manifesto by Blair Enns. Yeah, the idea is to stop pitching for free, and how to get to that point? Well, of course, by specializing and being so good that clients come to you. Business of Expertise by David C. Baker. And this is a go-to book about just specialization. It goes very deep on how one can get a expert status in their chosen field. Creative Strategy and the Business of Design by Douglas Davis. Yeah, this is a foundational book for especially those designers who do not have a business background. The book emphasizes that you are not here to just make things pretty. You are here to solve a problem, and you got to know your clients and the specific problem for you to do that. The Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. The book is about becoming a mini celebrity within your field. It's not enough to just be good, you have to be visible and credible to attract the best clients. Okay, let's move on to the actual takeaways. So I mentioned the specialization already, but I do not want to start with that. We'll get to that, so hold on. Let's start with the theme of strategic thinking and services. We need to become trusted advisors who bring value with their experience and insight. AI has given everyone more and more capabilities, but the strategic thinking behind the execution, that's where the value is created. You might have felt this already. Let's say you do simple business cards or small Webflow projects. That means that you are quite easy to replace. David C. Baker discusses the time between the client leaving you and them finding a suitable alternative. The longer the gap, the better your positioning is and the more power you have in the negotiations. How to get to that level? Well, you need to have a deep knowledge and expertise that your clients find useful. Which brings us to specialization. According to the books, this is the foundation of any successful creative business. By now, you have probably watched a bunch of videos about this topic. And yet, the idea still feels quite risky and uncomfortable. Let me remind you why specialization is valuable. The clients are looking for specialists who have a proven track record of solving the exact problem they are having. If you happen to be that person, you face less competition, you're easier to find, easier to choose, and you can charge more. Plus, you get to solve the same type of problem repeatedly, which makes you faster and more effective over time. In the Win Without Pitching Manifesto, every proclamation leans on the first one. We will specialize. A proper specialty gives you the negotiation power that I mentioned earlier. Let's break this down a bit. In the business of expertise, Baker explains that one can have horizontal and vertical specializations. Vertical specialty means that you focus on a specific industry or niche. So it's about who you serve. You might offer a variety of services, but always to the same type of client. Horizontal is the opposite, so it's about what you do. You offer one service, let's say Webflow development or branding, but you might have clients across many different industries. Horizontal specialty might be a bit more flexible and you're not tied to one industry's ups and downs. In the vertical specialization, there's always the risk that you end up working for near competitors. In practice, you might combine both. Especially freelancers can pull off very tight specialties. Okay, let's say that you have your target niche. What next? How do you actually become a specialist? The books do not provide much practical, like profession specific advice. Understandably, you will not find like Photoshop shortcuts or Webflow templates here. You just have to find the time to practice and hone your craft and develop your expertise. That said, Douglas Davis has some great advice for creatives. Creative strategy and the business of design starts with emphasizing how important it is to understand your client and their clients, and how you should base every decision and design on the strategy that you have done or created together. That might be obvious for seasoned designers, but it took me a while to really understand this. We are not here to make things pretty. We are here to make things that produce results. The goal might be different depending on the client and the end user, but you should always have the goal in mind. Even more difficult clients are easier to manage when you can explain your decisions with strategy. Here's an example. Let's use this shade of blue because we want to communicate the stability and calmness that our company represents. And the blue is tinted this way because we want to stand out, and our main competitor happens to have this shade. Okay, then the last big theme, communication skills. And I know, you have heard this one already, but trust me, it's not just how you should talk in a meeting. The books, especially The Key Person of Influence, gave me this realization. The most successful creatives are not necessarily the most skilled ones, but the most successful creatives are always great communicators. They can articulate their value, explain their process, and connect with clients. You can see them doing keynotes and advising big ass companies. They just might be the reason that you picked up this profession. Daniel Priestley divides professionals to three categories. There's newbies, worker bees, and key people of influence. Newbies are, of course, the newcomers. They get excited for every project that comes their way. Worker bees are the hard workers who are stuck in the rat race. They do the same process again and again, but they really feel like their efforts are not rewarded as they should. And finally, there are the key people of influence, the ones who get the coolest opportunities and get to dictate their own terms. So, how can one jump from a newbie or a worker bee to a KPI? Well, it's simple but not necessarily easy. Of course, the book goes way deeper in this subject, but here are my takeaways. Firstly, your internet presence should be quite clean. Google it yourself and see what comes up. Try to prune everything that is non relevant. Secondly, you need to publish your knowledge. So it might be a blog, a YouTube channel, or something else, but you need to be an active part of the community. The third thing is to actually publish a book. Authors are often booked as speakers in industry events, and even if you just self publish one book, you can always say that you wrote a book about this subject. There's, of course, more stuff in the book, but now can you see how your communication skills and efforts can actually be an unfair advantage? Okay, let's land this plane. What am I gonna do? I have long considered specialization, and I kind of have a niche already because I'm a Webflow user in Finland, but I'd like to hone that one a bit. I plan to actively seek more creative companies that might be a good fit for me and Webflow. In addition, I'm trying to really get this content game rolling. I want to be a part of this online community and learn and teach along the way. It would be cool to have you on board on my journey, so why don't you hit that subscribe button? I believe that's about it. If you have any book recommendations, leave them in the comments. And for your next video, try this one. YouTube really thinks that you might like it.